Welcome back. In city news, an unidentified man stole an SUV from the Green Tree area, then plowed into the PNC First Side building downtown. A man we now know as Richard McGee is a 5'9" African-American. He drove his Hyundai Santa Fe into the front revolving doors of the PNC property during rush hour last Tuesday. No one was hurt during the accident, and Richard escaped on foot. Occupy Pittsburgh was booted off the BNY Mellon Green a week ago today. Amidst their departure, sex offender allegations were brought against James Francis Hoff, an apparent leader of the Occupy Pittsburgh movement. Hoff allegedly failed to register as a sex offender for Megan's Law violations. Occupy spokesman Jeff Sex said the situation is unfortunate, but said his background. Hoff remains in jail and is awaiting formal arraignment. The Port Authority of Allegheny County is proposing 35% service reduction. According to the Globe, the change will be effective in September if the Port Authority does not receive sufficient state funding. Other proposed changes are increased fare, which will go into effect this July. The changes will cut routes for the T and the buses. The Globe says that commuters and faculty members that depend on public transportation will be deeply affected. Director of Commuter Affairs Sarah George says that if you're concerned about the changes, voice your opinions to Governor Tom Corbett at www.keeppghmoving.com. A local candy store suffered extensive damage after a fire broke out in the early morning, February 3rd. In the Sarah's Candy Ice Cream Parlor on Adams Road in Canonsburg, Washington County, a fire sparked by a faulty furnace caused by billows of smoke and fire that could be seen for miles. The Pittsburgh staple employs around 70 people, all of whom were unharmed and are standing by until they can return to work. Sarah's owners say they expect only a month or so recovery. And if you're stuck on what to wear for your Valentine's date on Valentine's Day, UView reporter Evan Flatus has the scoop on a Southside boutique. Let's check it out.
Minton began her career styling for film and television in Los Angeles. She now hopes to bring that eye for vintage clothing to Pittsburgh.
I've lived in Southside for a few years now, and I like it down here, and I feel like there should be more retail, period, down here, just to make it a more like well-rounded area. And I liked this block especially, and I wanted to try and get a space that I could renovate a little bit and make my own. I really think Southside is lacking in retail, so and this is kind of my neighborhood. I was excited to live and work in the same neighborhood. I think that's cool.
Minton began selling her own pieces through popular fashion website Etsy.
Well, I started on Etsy, and I don't have like 8,000 sales on Etsy. I just enjoyed, I worked with vintage at Avalon, and I've always loved it. And I really like everything that goes along with actually working in a store. And I think that's the most important reason that I wanted to do this. I like doing it. I like working in a store. And when you get to do it your way, obviously, that's the best way, because it's your way.
Minton also hopes to help the student population of Pittsburgh by providing internships and occasionally jobs.
Also, it's hard to be a student, and even if it gives you an extra $50 a month, that means a lot. As a student, I was a student, I understand that completely. That's where a lot of that comes from, that want and that want. I want to help them because I understand it's really hard. It's why if students ask me for internships or to loan clothes or to take pictures in my store or interview me or whatever, I'm more than happy to do that.
As for the future, Kate has no plans on slowing down anytime soon.
I'd love to get into wholesaling. I'd love to grow online. That's kind of more immediate goal. Get more of an online presence and try and make more out of that. Like I said, I'd love to get into wholesaling. I'd love to put these stores in different cities. I have a lot of people that come in from out of town because Southside's such a it's becoming a very touristy area in Pittsburgh. And so many people are like, oh, I wish they had a store like this in Columbus or Austin so, eventually I'd love to do that and have a bunch of little stores all over the place.
Wow, such great looks. Thank you, Evan. When we come back, we'll have Mary Hours with your weather report and some tips on what not to do for Valentine's Day. Stay tuned.